Hey guys, Ross here, back with the second part of our Training Variables mini-series. And today I want to talk a little bit about frequency. But before we get to that, I think it's important we preface the conversation with the mention that before you put pen to paper on a program or figure out what the training variables are and what direction you want to take them, it's important you always have a goal in mind first. And so without a goal in mind, it's hard to know exactly what you're striving for from a training standpoint. And if your goals and your training plan are not consistent with each other, you really shouldn't expect to get any closer to your goal, while you're taking yourself through the training program. A second note is for a high performance athlete, this is definitely not a long-term plan. So we're all in different situations, and some of us are forced to be out of facilities, working with various different types of circumstances at this point. But if you're a high-performing athlete, you definitely don't want to take your especially a young high-performing athlete, you definitely don't want to take your development into your own hands for too long. We definitely can see pretty significant training adaptations. Nothing that can't be corrected typically, but you can see some pretty quick adaptations in young athletes, and you want to make sure you always keep your training pointed in the right direction. So the first proper training variable we're going to talk about as it pertains to putting a program together is frequency. And another way we can think about this, if we're thinking about kind of microcycles or small chunks of our training, is how many times per week you're going to train. So often, we'll shape the week around the days of the week, the 7-day calendar. Now there are different types of frequency schemes we can use, like a 2-on 1-off scheme, 2 days of training followed by 1 day off, that don't perfectly follow a 7-day calendar. But typically we'll follow a 7-day calendar, and so figuring out how many of those days you're going to allot for training and how many you're going to allot for rest. If there are going to be programmed rest days in, is really important before you start getting into the volume and intensity, which we're going to chat about here in subsequent installments in this mini-series. So figuring out how many days per week you're going to train, and then starting to figure out what days are going to be your higher volume or intensity days, and which ones are going to be lower, and which days might be full rest days, are going to follow that. Okay guys, I'll see you again tomorrow.